Welcome to IDX TV. I'm your host, Avijah Scarborough, and we're at the WMX Americas event in Miami. I'm joined by Lee Smith, president of Reliable Logistics. Lee, you've been in the industry a long time. Tell me, what changes have you seen in the past 10 years?
Thank you, Avijah. It's really interesting that you come to the trade shows, and I think the biggest change I've seen is about 10 years ago. There may be one guy with a computer who says, "Hey, I can do analytics for you," and in the last 10 years, the changes has been more technological, right? This industry has been a little slow to adapt to it, but now when we go into the exhibition hall, you'll see, I would say 90% of the people who are there have some kind of technology that they're promoting. And I think that's the part that's been really exciting is it's how do we continue to evolve? But the fundamental thing at the base of all of this is, can I get packages to my customer sooner, and can they track it so they don't have to call me to figure where it is, right? And so the fundamental purpose still remains the same, but what has changed in the 10 years is just the focus on technology and just how we can move forward with that. So I'm really excited about, the next few years. What does that mean? What does blockchain mean? What does all these other things mean to the industry? And I'm excited to see what it does.
I'm excited too. What are your predictions? What do you think the future holds?
You know what? I think it's just more visibility, because we operate in Canada, and the thing that's interesting about Canada is that we have some dense populations, but then we've got this vast amount of land, and sometimes you might not see a package for 2 days. And I think it's been narrowing down. A few years ago, you wouldn't see it for 7 days. Now you don't see it for 2 days. And eventually, you'll see a package live going across the country, anywhere in the world. And I think that's going to be the next level of it, when we can actually track everything right down to the detail as to it's within this square mile. And so hopefully less packages get lost. And, if they're returned, then you have more visibility on them. So that's when I see it's just more visibility, more accountability within the supply chain.
Do you think customers want their packages faster and faster? Has that been a trend?
Well, I think it's one of those things in the arms race. You kind of go, okay, well, you need to be there. I'm an older guy, so when we got a package from the U.S., when I was 15, 6 to 8 weeks. And you'd be happy if it got there within the 6 to 8 weeks.
Or if it got there at all.
If it got there at all. But now, if it doesn't get there within 2 days, you're like, hey, what's going on with my package, right? But the funniest thing is that now that I see a lot of companies saying, okay, well, you can get it overnight. Why don't you get it the same day? And what is happening is the same day hasn't really taken off. I don't know if it will, but it's just the logistics of same day. It's just such an additional expense. I'm not sure if it will ever get to that point. Like, you normally need a day to consolidate things and then be able to deliver them. So I think next day delivery we seem to be at a standstill on that one. So price is good. Service is good. So same day, that's another level that I'm not sure we're there yet.
I feel like you can just maybe get your groceries delivered same day if you want, with like Instacart or
There
something. But other than perishable foods, what's the rush?
You can wait a day.
Yeah.
But we said that when it was 6 to 8 weeks, you could wait 6 to 8 weeks. But people want it. They want instant, right? So
that's right.
That's where the industry is going to be. I guess it's going to be heading in that direction.
Yeah. And you have a very interesting background. You spent decades working in post,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And you had mentioned that that's an industry that wasn't quick to adapt.
Yeah, again, it's just all over the world, right? If you look at Kodak, Eastman, they were not quick to adapt to the digital camera, even though they had it. Post is the same. The parcels was just something that you delivered with the letters.
Yeah.
Right. And when it became, I guess maybe about 20 years ago, when we started to see the trend, it took a while for the industry to change. But I think all the postal administrations have fully embraced it. The only thing is that there's so many other opportunities, so many other competitors in the industry right now that they've got to fight for a share of the wallet. Right?
That's right. And you mentioned Kodak,
Yes.
right? So, some people could say the iPhone disrupted the camera industry
Yes,
in many
yes.
ways. Do you think the post industry is ready for a disruption?
Well, I think Mishko Kanko did a really nice presentation yesterday talking about just that disruption. And I think the post office are disrupting themselves in that, they're working a lot more with private industry like ourselves to meet the needs of their customers. So that in itself is a disruption. Right? Because, before it was pretty much a closed chain. This postal administration dealt with that postal administration. Now they're actually leveraging private industry to do it better and faster. So I think that's good. So I think it's a bit of a hybrid taking place.
Right.
So that's the disruption. It may not seem seismic, but it is a pretty big shift.
Yeah. Well, speaking of seismic, nobody knew COVID was coming.
Yes, yes.
And that was one of the biggest disruptions ever to everything, but especially your industry.
Right.
So do you guys think about what could possibly happen in the future? Do you ever think of it, COVID happened, no one saw it coming, let's plan for another unforeseen event?
Well, again, you always plan, there's always a plan for something strange to happen, whether it's your building, getting on fire, or a truck. We had a truck caught on fire a couple of years ago, which destroyed, a couple $1 million worth of product, right?
Cool.
So you always, there's a contingency plan, but there's some things you can't prepare for, right?
Exactly.
But we actually did a really good job with the pandemic, and in terms of we had 3 scares, but we managed to get the product through, and the volumes just went through the roof, just because people were home, they had some money to spend, and they're like, okay, I don't want to go out, and so we were ready because we always have a plan, and we always, we were small enough that we could adjust on the fly, get a bigger warehouse, try and space these people out a little bit more inside the warehouse, make sure that everybody's wearing the proper equipment. So every thing that happens, you normally have a contingency, right? Just in case you can't do it this way, then you have an option to do it another way.
Right. And in a post-COVID world, what are your biggest challenges now? I know volume has slowed down.
Right. Volume has slowed down, but not to the point where, that is the major concern. The consumer will never change. How should I say it? They've made their change already. So a perfect example, when I worked at Canada Post, after our strike, most customers realized they could put three invoices in one envelope. Once that happens, you can, okay, well, I'm not going back to one invoice per envelope. And the same thing has happened with parcels, is that once you realize you can actually buy whatever from Amazon, and if it doesn't fit, you could return it. Or if it doesn't work, you can return it without any issue. That changes your behavior. So I don't think we'll ever go back to the level we were before. We're not going to continue like this, but I think there's more of a curve this way. Right, so I think just in terms of the industry, I think you're going to see a continual growth. You won't see the spike. Where you will see the change is that many new players got into the industry because it's a gold rush, right? Everybody runs into it, and then only the people who really understand it are the ones left standing at the end. And we hope we're one of those people because, I've been in the industry for 40 years. My partner's been in it for 35. And we really think we understand the industry. So we figure that there'll be some folks who came in, did really well for the pandemic because we had volume. But now the volume is down. This is when you're going to see who really can do the job.
And what would it take to succeed now?
It's what it always takes to succeed. You got to meet the needs of your customer, right? You got to have the visibility for them. They have to be able to trust you because when a customer hands us their product in Canada, they're basically saying, we trust you to do this delivery and give us the information on that delivery. Right?
And are you focusing on cost cutting?
Well, it's always an option. It's always an option. I mean, and I think, we've demonstrated this over the years for most of our customers is that we're not an additional cost. We're actually a savings, right? So, they can go on it on their own, but we can definitely bring savings to them. So it's not so much cost cutting, but we can definitely affect the bottom line. Transportation is normally the second line on most P&Ls, right? And if you can reduce that by 10%, you've done a great job.
Right.
And so that's the focus we've always had is that how do we help our customers to save money? Right. So it's not so much cost cutting because you can only go so far. How many people can you take off the supply chain, take off the line? They still have to actually deliver the product. But what we can do is, can we do it more efficiently? Can we do it more effectively? Can we get it closer to the last mile at a more cost-effective rate? right? So those are the things that we look at. It's not so much cost cutting, but cost savings, I would say.
Or cost efficiency, as you said.
See, that's why you're in marketing.
So one consumer behavior that has changed quite a bit is the amount of returns.
Yes.
That has spiked with online shopping, correct?
Right. Yes.
So what do you do to innovate when it comes to customer returns? Sometimes it's not efficient to send everything back to China, correct?
Well, definitely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, is that as more international companies get into the business, then they need to have a partner like ourselves, because we've been doing this for many years. So we have a unique platform. And what we're able to do is we can do some liquidation, because it doesn't make sense to return some of these items. We can do rerouting. So the item comes in, it's got to have a good value, but there's nothing wrong with it. We can resend it to someone else, right? Destruction, unfortunately, is a part of the industry that, if it's damaged, you can't sell it, you need to destroy it. But the biggest thing that we're working on, and that's part where our customs division comes in, is how are we able to return these items back into the U.S. or back, and not always to China, but how are we able to move them internationally? Because that's the struggle, right? Because if I could just drive my truck across the border, it'd be not a problem. But you got to drive the truck across the border and still be able to document it and make sure everything is taken care of, duties, taxes, and all those pieces of it. So I think where the industry is going is hopefully we're ahead of that, is just to be able to document things a lot quicker. And as we talked about the AI part of it,
right.
Just be able to say, okay, I've got these 10,000 items, 5,000 is this, 4,000 is this, 1,000 is this, and be able to clear it quickly and efficiently, because if you have to touch each item, you've lost money. Right?
Yeah. And that makes your jobs much easier.
Yes.
It's much less paperwork and
exactly.
red tape and bureaucracy. So I'm really excited to see what AI and machine learning and how that adds to your industry.
Exactly.
So what's your goal when coming to an event like this?
This is almost like our Super Bowl. We just had the Super Bowl here, but it's just you get to meet all the people that you've worked with. I mean, we were able to generate a couple of really good opportunities, but the opportunities are one thing, but it's just learning what the industry. I just having spent so many years at the postal in the post office, I love to sit in the postal one in the morning and see what the post offices around the world are doing. I'm always curious about that. What are the cross-border guys doing? What are the last mile guys doing? But really just meeting the people that you've spent the last 10 years building a relationship with, because at the end of the day, the relationship is so much important, because they know they can trust you, and they know that your word is good, that if you can get it into Canada for this amount of price, and you're going to take care of them. So that's the exciting part, is just really seeing all the folks over and over again.
So if you can get one message out to all the attendees here about Reliable, what would that be?
I would say, we're probably your best partner in North America to deal with stuff coming in and out of North America. So, mid-mile is what we really strive on. We work very closely with all of the different last mile carriers. We work very closely with the customs people. So that's extremely important to move products. So we're very forward thinking. We've got an IT department that is probably 1/4 of our company is an IT department, and it's just so important to us to be ahead of the curve where this is concerned. So if you're looking for a reliable partner, where are the guys that you should call in North America? We'll make sure it works well for you.
Yeah, I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Geez, you put me on the spot.
Oh, no.
No, just really and truly, this WMX has been a really enjoyable experience. It always is, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And again, just the learning and the industry changing. It's just you can actually mark it by the different things that happen here.
Yeah.
So it's been an enjoyable couple of days, and I'm looking forward to WMX Asia this year. I hope to be able to attend.
What do you think of IDX being here?
Well, again, you guys, I did an interview with you with your company last September, and we've had some really great feedback on it. So definitely
that's
happy
great to hear.
No, definitely happy to be part of this. So I always volunteer. It's like, come on, I'm happy to come in and have a discussion.
We love having you, Lee. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.
All right.
Look forward to talking to you guys again later this year.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.